Hello everybody, BL here. This video is going to talk about the testing for this particular pandemic that we're all dealing with at a time when you've got sites popping up left and right, talking about how many people are testing positive for this particular pathogen. You have journalists who, well, I don't call them journalists, I would call them freelancers, who are going out and they're boots on the ground and they're getting footage of a lot of these facilities that are supposedly overrun and overwhelmed with patients. And they're showing that these facilities are, if not empty, I won't say empty, but virtually empty. Or I'll put it this way, the footage that they're showing is not matching what mainstream media is showing us. We've seen, if you guys pay attention, several of the pictures that you're seeing on mainstream media of particular medical facilities are pictures that have been used previously, year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago in other situations, exact same pictures. So just keep that in mind as we're rushing out getting this testing, as we're living in the fear, as we're mass buying all the toilet paper and all the guns and all the canned goods and stuff like that. You're being told something and you're being inundated with it. It's on all the social media, it's on all the TV channels, it's everywhere. There has to be a reason for that. Maybe to get you to believe it. The more you hear it, the more you think it's true. So, I'm going to talk about testing. So, I'm here at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The name has changed. And it's talking about the testing. It says here, laboratory tests that can identify who should be tested. Not everyone needs to be tested. Here is some information that might help in making decisions about seeking care or testing. Most people have mild illness and are able to recover at home. So, we saw the New York Times that reported similar. And now we see the CDC is telling us this. But mainstream media is telling us, oh, this is critical and we have to shut down and we have to stop work and we have to go into poverty and we have to go into debt and all this other stuff. The world has to stop when it comes to the working people, the basic working people. But the rest of the world can continue as it meets their needs. So the politicians continue to do what they do. Courts continue to do what they do. Landlords can continue to evict you. Banks, if it's not a Fannie Mae or whatever, technically a bank can go ahead and foreclose on your home. If this happens to be the you were struggling and this is your third month and you're not working and so now you're behind, they can go ahead and initiate foreclosure procedures. And even if they don't foreclose, the extra $2,000, $3,000 in legal fees or whatever going through all of that, now you have to find as well, on top of being out of work and trying to get caught up. So everyone is, not everyone, but CDC is saying right here, it's a mild illness that you can recover at home. There is no treatment specifically approved for this virus. Testing results may be helpful to inform decision making about who you come into contact with. They have guidance for who should be tested, but decisions about testing are at the discretion of state and local health departments and their individual clinicians. So, basically, they guide. They're telling you mild sicknesses, etc., etc. And not everyone needs to be tested. But here, we see we're getting ready to go. Well, in some places, National Guard's rolling out, and they're going to do checkups. What that checkup entails, I don't know. But something else that caught my eye as I was browsing through the CDC website, and I'll just show it up here. Interim guidance for public health personnel evaluating persons under investigation and asymptomatic close contacts of confirmed cases at their home or non-home residential settings. So, seems to me just by looking at that, persons under investigation, that kind of hints at criminality. that kind of hints at a need or an okay. It lends credibility to being able to take someone into custody against their will, possibly because they're under investigation. The wordplay there. But what does it do? It conditions your mind. It conditions the mind of the persons who are doing the investigating, of the ones who are doing the door-to-door, to see the target or the citizen who's at their home or wherever as someone who needs to be investigated or potentially have done something wrong. Now they're going to say, no, you haven't done anything wrong, but the person's under investigation term in your brain links to something wrong. So, now about these tests, we've seen all kinds of reports. This report is as of March 1st, shows where the lab where they were actually trying to make the kits, the test kits at the CDC over in Atlanta, may have been contaminated. And it's worded may have been contaminated, but it goes on into bottom line say something's not right. The CDC lab in Atlanta developed a testing formula for this pathogen, which the government says works and was manufactured in relatively small amounts for This is where the lab ran into problems per sources familiar with the situation. At the time, the administration is under scrutiny for its early preparations for the virus. The potential problems at the lab became a top internal priority for some officials, but the admin did not talk publicly about the FDA's specific concerns about the lab. Go on up here again. They ordered an independent investigation of that lab, and the manufacturing of the test kits has been moved. So go in, something's off, something's amiss. Administration says, nope, we need to call somebody else in to come in here and see what's going on, because something don't seem right here. And they say, okay, and get all these kits out of here. Let's move them to another location. And at the same time, you have here, this is dated April 1st. Great Britain learns that its virus tests have been tainted. So the actual test that Great Britain received had the pathogen on it. So whomever comes into contact with that, be it a patient, be it a first line worker, they're now being exposed to it because the actual tests themselves contain the pathogen. So they're ordering kits, and the kits are coming contaminated. With the arrival of shipments of new tests for the virus, it has been reported that a large amount of those tests will have to be scrapped because they have been discovered to be contaminated. Traces of the virus have been discovered on components of many of these new tests, and as a result, they have to be destroyed entirely. Discovered on components. Doesn't specify what component. Doesn't say if it's the swab, the stick, the wrapper, the reagent itself, whatever. But bottom line is contaminated and cannot be used. So, it also says something I questioned once before. If people are tested with those contaminated kits, they're going to come back positive. Even if the person doesn't have it, the kit is giving it to them, basically. Well, the kit is giving them a positive. But the person who's testing them does not have proper protective equipment, then you have another person who's just been contaminated. And I've just, actually what I did was I just highlighted a few articles that are talking about the questionability of these particular tests. Countries rush to dump defective tests. And this is as of March 28th. So this wasn't an April Fool's joke. This is March 28th. The other one was April 1st. This is March 28th. Here's some people testing or about to test. Spain. Their health ministry says they're defective. So does Turkey. Now Georgia has canceled its contract. The rapid tests made by This particular company, BioEasy, seemed like a great solution to the shortage. The gear was quickly bought up by one government after another. Then the complaints started rolling in. So how big's the problem? How many more countries are dealing with busted tests? And how do the tests work? And I'm not a member. I'm not paying a member for this particular outlet. So that's as far as we can go on that. But you can see, here's another one. March 30th. Chinese companies selling defective test kits abroad. Defective test kits abroad. And this is from asianews.it. Asia News. Complaints come from the Philippines, Malaysia, Spain, and was that Czechia? I guess that's how you pronounce it. I don't know, when the Soviet Union broke up, all these different names, I don't know how to pronounce them all. But yeah, the accuracy of the tests is 30 to 40%, when it should be 80%. I questioned that once before. How accurate are these tests? Chinese diplomats go into a defense mode. The Netherlands polls 600. I guess that's supposed to be 600,000 defective masks. So here we have a picture here. We assume it's a current picture because as we know, some of these pictures are pictures from previous events. Even one picture I saw was a picture from one of the movies. Was it Contagion? One of the outbreak type of movies. They used that picture to say that that was a current situation in this particular pandemic, when it actually was the picture from the movie years ago. So here, Hong Kong, from Asia News, more and more countries are reporting defective made in China test kits, presently in use only in China and South Korea. But go back, the article says they're selling defective kits abroad. So they're using them in China and South Korea, but, and how do we know that the ones that they're using are defective? But the kits that they're selling abroad are defective, supposedly. About 23 companies are selling this type of kit. BGI Group, their largest genetic research company, is producing 600,000 kits per day, up from 200,000 in February. Philippines Authority last Saturday announced only 40% of the 100,000 kits bought from this group and another particular group were accurate. So only 40% of them were accurate. Didn't say that they were defective. It said only 40% of them were accurate, which means there may have been some other way that they confirmed it, or the results or whatever, but only less than half of them were accurate. So that opens, I raised this once before, the false positives or false negatives. We were making rash decisions with equipment that's not able to accurately give us the proper information. The Malaysian government has complained about the poor accuracy of the kits from there. According to local media, the country's hospitals are gearing up to get equipment from South Korea and Taiwan. Also Czech Republic. Spain and Czech Republic have encountered the same problem. 30% accuracy. And then someone else goes down here. Test kits are not the only problem. The Dutch Health Ministry said on Saturday it recalls 600,000 masks manufactured there because they failed to meet safety requirements. Now, looking at these numbers, at present Spain had ordered medical materials for a total of $465 million, including ventilators and protective gear. I mean, these companies in China are getting that. They bring it in the bag, as the young kids say. And the equipment is not, and the product that they're selling is not holding up. It's not holding up. Here's another one. Faulty virus tests clouds China's European outreach. And this is March 31st, updated April 1st. Hospitals tell doctors they'll be fired if they speak out about the lack of gear. Oh, okay. So, that's a whole nother video. The whistleblowers. If doctors and medical staff tell what's really going on, they'll lose their jobs. So, But this is Bloomberg, and Just more of, this is in Italy, began to sweep across the continent. They turned to China for testing kits to quickly identify the hot spots, etc., so that they can respond, since it supposedly started there. Prime Minister basically says that the Slovak government, they bought from local middlemen for 16 million US dollars. They're inaccurate and unable to detect it in its early stages. So basically they have to throw them into Danube River. Really? We've done all of this. We've pretty much put people on the brink of job loss, homelessness potentially, because people that are not going to work, this is going to have a trickle effect for them over a period of time. Unemployment filings are skyrocketed everywhere. So people are out of money. They're out of work. And we didn't have accurate information. We didn't have accurate testing. And a shout out to those individual persons of means who have taken it upon themselves to order, 100,000 masks and have it shipped to hospitals. Or, 100,000 test kits, even though they're defective. I'm assuming that they did it with good intentions, and so shout out to them. Let's talk about the test itself, the actual test. And I'm not going to show the video, but you see it's on USA Today website, and it gives you an overview of the process from start to finish. And this video published March 20th at 8:19 a.m. Eastern, updated March 21st. There are a couple things in this video to pull from, and you'll hear about it in another video that I'm going to do. But when you get a chance, go here to USA Today and pull up the video and see the process. I don't want to play it here because, YouTube, they're all getting funny about what you can and cannot play and show, etc., etc. And so just to remove any doubt, I just tend not to play whatever the case may be. So, but it takes you through the step-by-step process. Keep your windows up. You can't open, they don't want you to open your windows. They actually, if you go on through, you put your ID, your insurance, your doctor's order to have the test in the window. You hold it up to the window for them to see it through the window. So, supposedly it only takes 10 minutes, whatever. Here's the kicker. I told you before, there are people who are reporting that they're going to these locations and they see nobody. Or if not nobody, they see very few people. And they're doing screenings, and if you don't have the symptoms, the drive-through testing is only for patients who have symptoms like a fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath. Otherwise, they're going to be turned away. So unless you're sick with all of that, you're going to be turned away. And it looks to match your ribonucleic acid, your RNA, with the virus RNA to determine a positive or negative result, is what we're told here. But let's talk about the test. And I pulled up some pictures. This is what they do with the test. They take a swab and they stick it up your nose and they stick it all the way back here. Now here are my questions. I'm told to social distance minimum of 6 feet if I'm told that this particular pathogen can live on surfaces, plastics, papers, even shipping boxes. Why do you need to stick this thing so far into the person's nasal cavities? They can get it by being this distance from you. This thing doesn't need to go all the way in there. If that's the case, you should be able to just get it right along in this area, something that's comfortable. Why so far? I wonder. I'm just thinking, if this particular swab had something on it, when it went in there, it's not that easy for you to blow it out. Let's say if it put something there or accidentally dropped something there, you can't just blow that out. Do you see this? And it's going in a little groove, which means you probably have to have something to help force it out of there. Just wondering if you want to try to wash it out, maybe do some sort of irrigation, nasal irrigation. How strong does the water force have to be if it's trying to force something out? And then it's going to go in here and come right back out the other passage. Most don't have the capacity to know, I may have just contracted something. I may have just, had something in me. Let me rush and do some damage control, if you will, and load up with a bunch of herbs and supplements and things to clear my lymphatic system and my respiratory system. And y'all hear me when I say, remember I said to y'all before, listen to what's said and what's not said. To self-treat, to make sure we're clear. If it means certain foods, if it means changing diet, adding supplements, a neti pot, use of that, a combination of all the above, and whatever we've got to do to flush our respiratory system and our lymphatic system. Respiratory is where you breathe, where you're breathing through. We know that the bronchial, the lungs, etc., etc. But your lymphatic system is where it's the fluid that flows through your body that transfers stuff. So it runs all around. So, if it gets in here, something gets here, how's it going to transfer through your body? Through your lymphatic system. Now this is almost like a direct infusion straight down. It's harder to pull it out or get it out. Because you didn't just put it here where the nasal hairs are that are in place to help reduce the pathogens that make it inside your body. We're bypassing all of that. And we're putting it right back here. And Lord knows if your tonsils are gone, whatever defense your tonsils would have provided, they're gone. How many of y'all know we have lymph nodes right up under here? Direct access to those. Just saying. So we've got a test that seeks to go, it's not 6 feet, but, may as well be 6 feet into your nose to check for a contamination that you can get just by walking past, supposedly, someone who sneezed an hour ago, or in a location where someone infected sneezed an hour ago, and you happen to walk through, and it's still flying in the air, so you can just catch it. But they have to come all the way in here to see if it's in your nose somewhere. Now, if you just breathed it, you're right here. It's right here. It may not have made it all the way down. So this test would come back possibly a false negative. Something else about the test. Their test, the CDC website clearly says, is it here? I closed out of it already. My bad. But the CDC website also said that you may test negative, but the tests aren't strong enough to register at an early stage, which means you could test negative, but it might be that you're infected and it's just too early to tell. So it's too early for the test to pick it up. So for those who don't get that, what that basically means is their tests, let's give you an example. When a woman gets pregnant, well, now they have tests that can tell early, but back in the day, you had to wait a whole month or so before the hormones showed up, and they were able to test and find the hormones. Now their tests are a little bit more refined in that they can detect the hormones sooner. But at one point, you had to wait until enough of the hormone was produced in the body before the pregnancy test came up positive. Or, for example, you might have some other condition, some other disease. And you know your body. You know something's off. You go to the doctor runs the test comes back negative. You know something's wrong. But their test is not designed, it's not geared to detect conditions in the early stages when it's correctable. The tests are geared to detect the condition when it's already in a diseased state, which makes it harder for you to correct it. And for those of you who do thermography, we know thermography does what? It shows a rise in heat signatures, and which basically says there's a massive cellular activity in a particular location. You may go do a thermography test on, let's say, your head. We'll pick the head. You do a test of up here, and it's showing all kinds of activity right in here. But if you happen to get an ineffective test, they stuck that thing in, test comes back negative, but your thermography scan showing all kinds of cellular activity at this level. So to oversimplify it, for the kiddos, which is how I used to describe infections to children, you knew something when you felt, 5,000, or not even say 5, say 1,000 invaders in your body. You felt a difference in your body, so you knew there was some invaders, some pathogens, some bacteria, some viruses, some, whatever, in your body. They had invaded in. Their test only registers when that number gets up to maybe 10 or 20,000. So from the 1,000 that you suspected something was wrong, you have to wait until their army, to the invaders' army, is strong enough to almost take you out or to overtake you before their test will catch it. That's what we're looking at in regards to these tests. So, my recommendation to people, self-treat as if you have it. Go ahead and treat as if you have it. Build your immune system. Build your immune system. Build your immune system. I can't say it enough. Build your immune system. You get online. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of herbs. There's a bunch of supplements. You can go to the, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, wherever, and get you some stuff. You can order stuff online. You can even with Amazon, if you order, what is it they call this, the subscription where it comes every 30 days and stuff. Order you some stuff that works with your immune system. Build your B vitamins. Get your rest. I know we're in this crazy pandemic thing going on. Schedules are off, etc., etc. And for those who are homeschooling, I feel for you. But get your rest. Make sure your babies get their rest. Don't let them sitting up all night watching TV. Still maintain your rest because your body needs it. That's the downtime that your body needs, so that those 1,000 soldiers or pathogens, invaders, if you will, that are in your body, they never make it to 10 or 20,000. If you build your immune system, you eat well, reduce the sugars, get rid of the sugars, get rid of the acids, move to alkaline. The pathogens don't like an alkaline environment. So make it as difficult as possible for this pathogen, if it gets into your body, to propagate. Make the conditions so unlikely, so unfavorable that it doesn't want to stay. I mean, they won't even reproduce at a rate fast enough to overtake you, if you will. Wear masks if you have to go out. Some of you still have to go out to work, or doctors, or wherever it is you've got to go, to the grocery store, whatever the case may be. Go ahead and wear a mask. If you don't have a mask, there's nothing wrong with taking a handkerchief and putting it over your face. Now, is it going to eliminate transmissions that small? No, but it will provide an initial barrier. And if you double them or triple, do them in triplicate, that'll be just an extra layer of a barrier. So because the masks, they've been gouging the prices, they're unavailable, and then, who knows what you buy may say is N95 or whatever the particular level it needs to be in order to catch this, but may not necessarily be, and you have no way of knowing. So you're spending money for something that may not even work. You see all the governments, they just spend all this money for equipment that's not working. But I recommend everyone just go ahead and treat as if you have it. Treat yourself, treat your kids, your whole household as if you have it. The studies have shown that the vast majority of people will overcome this anyway. It's shown that all you need to do is just hunker down, build your immune system, let your body, give your body everything it needs to fight it off, and it will. Now, those who have pre-existing conditions, who have weakened immune systems, who have, if you've been battling cancer and you've gone through the chemo and stuff, then your system is weakened as well. Or if you have any other condition that compromises your immune system. if you're elderly, just for any reason that your system may not be strong enough to fight. You got to help your body fight. But remember, pay attention to what is said and what's not said. You don't have to swallow some horse pills or eat some stuff that you don't necessarily want to eat. Okay, guys, be well. But remember, fluids, rest, strong diet, immune system, get rid of the sugars, make your body a little bit more alkaline, exercise, keep moving. Don't sit at home just, twiddling your thumbs. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. So you don't want to just take all this good stuff to build your immune system and sit down on the couch and just flip through the TV all day long. Get up and start moving. Get some good oxygen into your body. Oxygen therapy has been shown to help alleviate a lot of conditions and have a positive impact when it comes to a lot of different conditions. So, that being the case, this is longer than I wanted. You guys take care, and I will catch you on the next one.